प्रेम से बोले श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। Ravi? So everybody please stand. You'll come and you just do arti by the grass and then you go back to your seat. Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय जय जय
कृष्ण हरे।
जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा के दूर किनारा हो। जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा के दूर किनारा हो। और कोई न केवन हारा हो, और कोई न केवन हारा हो। फिर तो ये बेड़ा पार करो। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय जय जय
कृष्ण हरे।
तू चाहे तू सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे। तू चाहे तू सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे। पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा, पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा। जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे, ये जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय जय
जय कृष्ण हरे।
जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की जय। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की जय। मैं तो आरती
उतारो राधे श्याम की जय।
राधे श्याम की जय। मुक्ति धाम की जय। राधे श्याम की जय। मुक्ति धाम की जय। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की जय। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम
की जय।
हृदय के कपाट को भक्ति के गले ही दो। मधुर नाम बोल बोल। मधुर नाम बोल बोल। मैं तो चरण छवि निहारो राधे श्याम की जय। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की जय। मैं तो आरती उतारो राधे श्याम की जय। प्रेम से बोले श्री भगवान कृष्ण की जय। Sing me a Krishna bhajan, le Parvati. And then the correct scale, yeah. Huh? Yeah, all you could sit, sorry.
एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। जग चला जाता है सारा। जग चला जाता है सारा। इसका कौन ठिकाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। चल चला जाता है सारा। इसका कौन ठिकाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। खूब मौज कर देख तमाशा। खूब मौज कर देख तमाशा। खेल नहीं खो खेला। जाए उसका साथी, संग न जाए उसका साथी, फिर पछताना है। एक दिन हमें बिछाना है, एक दिन हमें बिछाना है। जग चला जाता है सारा, जग चला जाता है सारा, इसका कौन ठिकाना है। एक दिन हमें बिछाना है, एक दिन हमें बिछाना है, एक दिन हमें बिछाना है।
Let us all put the hands together, close the physical eyes as we concentrate and meditate upon our Pitris. Om Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanirabhavati Bharatam Abhyutanam Dharmasya Taratmanam Srijanyaham Panitranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadusritam Dharma Sansar Pranatayam Shambhavani Yuge Yuge Yam Brahma Varvindra Rudra Marutaham Sturvanti Devyahi Saveng Vedahi Sangapadakrupanishadeng Gayantiyam Samega Dhyanavashitadadhagate Namanasam Pashyantiyam Yogino Yashyantam Navidusurasuragainam Devaya Tasme Namaham Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Sarvo Upanishado Gavam Dugda Gopalanandanam Parto Yasudhir Bhoktam Dugdam Gitam Ritam Mahatam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangom Langhayati Grihim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Paramanandam Madhavam. Om Sri Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai. Last evening we had a wonderful discussion, and last evening we know that there are benefits for gifts, and we know there are punishments for violating the law, and which tells us that there are two things which must happen. That if you don't have all the gifts that comes on the list, then for sure your Pitri is going to hell. And as we say, that's what you say, right? But last night we understand that if you give salt and water, that will remove all the miseries of the loved one. Every one of the other gifts has its merit if you can afford it. Okay? So we will just hold with that for a little bit. But this evening, I have a wonderful katha because we end up with a lot of discussion last evening. And last evening, we were trying to create and that the subtle body and the gross body would have been the same. The gross body feels pain, the subtle body feels no pain. So, what really happens? And this is what we are going to discover this evening from our Katha. And this evening we take it from Prit Khand again, chapter 5, and we start from verse number 1. Sri Bhagavan Uvacham Evam Dhagdhyavam Narang Pretam Styanatvam Kritavang Tilodha Kame Shri Bhagavan Uvacham Agratham Sri Vejanum Gachedhujeyum Prishtaton Naram Sri Bhagavan Uvacham. And Bhagavan Krishna commences this evening discourse by saying, the body of the corpse have been burnt. We have completed the cremation. And now the devotees, having taken their bath, they have offered the Tilanjali offerings with the injunctions as observed strictly, and with the Brahmins performing the sacrifice along with the Ahuti mantras. So this here, what you see, is what we actually do just on the cremation site. When the body starts burning, you make that Tilanjali offering. The offerings usually is being made at the feet of the pyre. But because the pyre blazes so much, we just go on the side and we plant the grass, offer the pinda, and we make the ahutis. So that is where the devotion starts. And you make 5 ahutis there. So then it continued to tell to us here that, that the body have been burnt, and in this way, water they should return home with the women folks coming ahead. The women should not be the last people to leave the cremation site. They should come ahead. And in this way, they should consume the leaves of margosh on the way back home. And this is a leaf that will be purifying the mouth and the saliva and everything else. So should in case any negative thing should follow or come within you and use the entrance of the mouth, then it will be warded away. You should sit on a stone before you reach back home, and that again is for purification of any or warding away of any evil negative things. So this, my dear friends, this is what you see when you come back home from the cremation site. You see on the outside of the house, they place a fire, no? They place the cutlash, they place some saffron, and they give you some sarbat to drink, right? The sarbat represents it, it is for the purification of the margosh leaf that you're supposed to be chewing. The saffron again is for purification. The cutlass that you touch is for the steel. The fire that you meet there should be a little oven to help purify yourself, so that when you enter in the house, you're entering pure. So it tells to us again here that having entered the house, the sons and relatives of the deceased should observe a sauch for 10 nights. And it didn't say 10 days, it says 10 nights. Bhave Yuradha Dasharat Ve Yat Ashauchak card. They're writing very small, and my glasses not. I went to get a reading one day and I couldn't get it. But it says here, that line says that when they enter the house, the relatives, the sons and the relatives in the house of the deceased should observe 10 nights of a Sauch. And you will understand that is what the Dashgrat is. If you check, some people wants to perform, and it is, say, 9 days. And 9 days is correct. 9 days is not wrong. But it is 10 nights. Because you start checking a day from the next day from sunrise. But when they reach home, the Dashgrat is 10 nights. So 10 nights they observe, and that is from the night of the funeral. When they return from, and it specifically say, when they return from the cremation site with the ladies coming ahead. So the book says that you count from when they return back, you know. So many people have so many different things, you know, and it says Dasharat, you know. It tells to us that Dasharat, a Sauch. So it's 10 nights of that uncleanliness, of that purification period. It says here now again, having brought food from the market, they should take their meals. Why it is said that they buy the food from the market? Because you're not supposed to cook in the house. You're not supposed to cook in the house. So it's all well and good that you buy nice food and you bring it. Not the nice food that we think about. Eh? Now you will hear how the food should be. And it tells to us here, you know, that the couple, wife and husband, should sleep separately on the ground and live a life full of celibacy. They should not touch one another. They should abstain also from studies and charity within this 10 days period, this 10 nights period. However, the food that they buy from the market, the food should not have salt. They should not take saline. Saline is salt and water mixed together, you know. So the food should be no salt and no high seasoning, no pungent food, which is acidic, peppery, high seasoning. No high seasoning food and no salt food. They should take bath 3 times a day and abstain from taking meat. So it tells you straight, meat is out, salt is out, high seasoning is out for the people who is doing the part. And it tells to us also that no studies, no charity should be done within that period. Total celibacy should, wife and husband should not touch one another, much less to sleep together. So you're sleeping separately on the ground. You should bathe 3 times a day, and that's to keep the purity. So it means that within the period of a Sauch, you have to be purifying your physical body, you have to be purifying your mind. So your mind is supposed to be at that low level. So children of God, the meals, you know, during the days of impurity should be no salt, no high seasoning, and no meat. It says that you should try and avoid pleasures. So you do not allow the card playing and the drinking of alcohol and all of that in the dead house, because you should avoid pleasures. Drinking alcohol has no religious merit into it, that is pleasures. Right? Playing the cards, that is pleasure. So my dear friends, it continued to tell to us that They should eat from a plate of leaves or the dirt pot. They should observe fast on the day of the cremation or for more number of days during impurity. So on the day of the cremation, everybody does eat and everything on the cremation morning, and then they say, well, from the evening, or from the next morning, then they're going to start. On the day of the cremation, you're supposed to keep fast and keep as many days without food for the period of impurity, as much as you can manage. But after the cremation day, if you cannot manage, no more day again for the fasting. Then is no salt, no high seasoning, no meat. Prem se bole Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki jai. So Garud now asks of Lord Krishna, and he says, Dear Lord, you have just stated they should observe a sauch, a period of impurity. Now please tell to us, what is this a sauch and what is its period? The 10-day period of a sauch for the relatives of deceased on the father side. You could be a big, all the family down the road who had no connection to the house or nothing, they live in separate by themselves. For in time somebody dead, Baba, putting off the puja, and they put it off indefinitely. But they say the period of a sauch is 10 days. And it is prescribed for the relatives of the deceased on the father side. This commences from, and they talk now about birth too. This commences from the hour of birth also, with the view to obtain purity. So I remember telling you all, it is more specific in the Dharma Sastra, it says it more clear, that days of impurity for death is 10 days, and days for impurity of birth of child is 10 days. That is why on the 12 days you could do the Ganesh Puja instead of doing the Barahi Fet. Since the time of birth, purity can have after 3 days, and after that, purity can be in 3 days. You can also have it in 3 days. But the amount of offerings that you have to make in those 3 days is significantly high. So that is why we have recommended that you do it within the period of 10 days, because you still have to come back at the end to do the Dashgrat. Prem se bole Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai, Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. So it says that this asauch, Krishna Bhagwan is now going to tell us how to bring the purity. It says water in the open and milk in the earthen pot should be kept for 3 days. So that is why the water in the open place and the milk in the open place should be kept for 3 days. R.C. Prasad, another one who have translated the Garud Puran, he made it a little more clear, and he says, offerings for 3 days with water, Tilanjali water, and 3 days with milk, Tilanjali. And then from the 4th to the 10th day, you do just water, Tilanjali. So, all those who have done cremation and funeral with me would know that the first 3 days, the first morning, you offer by the kush grass, the milk Tilanjali, and the pure water Tilanjali. And you will hear coming down now again of the other offerings which should be done. It says you need to offer also telangeli when you go to clean the cremation site. They call it here collection of the bones, you know. So it says here, for, for the non-purified on the ground, for the purified on the kush grass, one should offer 9 pindars in 9 days, and 1 pindar, that is 1 pindar each day. After giving the 10th pindar, one become pure after the night expires. So on the 10th day, when you offer the pindar, remember it's 10 pindars you offer, eh? You offer one in the cremation site, and then you come home. And then 9 each morning, which will take you to the 10th morning. It says when you offer the 10th pindar in the night, that 10th night, you become purified. And then they tell to you how the pindar given on the first day, what it brings, and it brings the purity. And right, so it says that if you have to complete the purity in 3 days, let's say you have something to do after 3 days, then you're supposed to make 100 offerings of the tilangeli. So instead of 5, you offer 100. And then you can do whatever little business that you have to do, but it must be done in 3 days. It says that 100 tilangeli offering are to be given. 30 should be given on the first day, 40 on the second day, and 30 on the third day. And you get some measure of purity at that time. So it says here that the pindar offering should be done in silence and with flowers and essence. On the 10th day, bath should be taken outside the village. So you can't bathe home and go down in the cremation site and do your dasgrat. You have to bathe outside the village. And when you go there and you bathe outside the village in the river, that is why no ladies to go. You're supposed to leave all the old clothes that you have, because you're supposed to use one suit of clothes for the 10 days to offer the tilangeli offering. You use a langot, you bathe, you offer the tilangeli offering, then you rinse that, hang it up, and the next morning you put back down the same langot. But when you go on the 10 days to do the bath in the river outside the village, you leave that langot in the water and let it go. Then come dry your skin, take your puja, and then you do the little final puja. So it says now at that river, they should leave their old clothes here, so you have to shave the head, beard, you have to shave the beard, and nails. It says the Brahmin is purified by touching water, Kshatriyas by touching iron, steel, Vaishnavas by touching the whip or the range, and the Sudra by touching stick after performing the rites. The relatives younger in age should undergo shave. Those who never shave, on that day they should shave. Right, so now they say the pindars that we offer for the 10 days, Each pinda in each day should be breaked into 4 pieces. 2 parts goes for the creation of the new body. The third part goes to being offered to Yama, and the fourth part is for it to continue to live. During the 9 days and nights, the body is formed by offering the first pinda, and it tells you the first pinda bring the head, second pinda bring eyes and ears and nose, and so the whole body have been described here how you get it by offering the 10 pindas. But it tells to us here, you should give bed, cows, and cetras as gifts in favor of the deceased. The Brahmin should be fed to satisfy the hunger of the departed soul. But my dear friends, as I tell to you, all these gifts are very nice. But Lord Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, if you offer to me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even some water, once you offer it with love, I will accept such. So my dear friends, now it comes to a very important part again. And it tells to us that sapinda and pindas should be offered after the 12th day. And for the 12th month, 12 pindas should also be offered. It says if you don't offer 16 pindas on the 12th day after, which is the 13th day, if you don't offer 16 pindas, then it remains, the vasanas remain into ghosthood. And we do offer 16 pindas on the 13th day. We offer the Mahavishnu pinda on top by the head, and you offer 15 pindas for the creation of the new body. And then you do Sapinda Puja with the additional 5, which is being recommended here also. So it says that pindas are performed on the 12th day and at the beginning of every month on the date of death. 1 day or 3 days before is permitted if you cannot do it on the date of death. Right. So it tells us again that human life is transitory, means very short. It is better, therefore, to perform the rites of Sapinda within 12 days. O Guru, I shall tell you about the method of Sapinda. So it tells us, because life is so short in this Kali age, the Sapinda should be performed after 12 days. And it tells us, once Sapinda has been performed, the life continues. Right, so it says here, for the family traditions are many and human life is short. So you perform the Sapinda 12 days after. Right, the process is that you get 4 vessels, should be made ready with the black till, the incense, the perfume, and water. You mix that together, and then 1 will represent the heavenly realm, the Pitris, and 3 represents the Bhutas, the Roman souls. So you're taking from the 3 and you're throwing it in the 1 here with the mantra to make that togetherness. So you take from the first one, we just make, you see I just use 4 diyas. You could use 4 kalsas, whatever vessels you have, but it must be 4 in number. So I just use 3 diyas, 4 diyas, 1 separate and 3 in a line. Put in the black till, the water, and the perfume. You take it 1 from the 3, which represents the bhut, the one that have not settled yet, and you throw it in the one which represents the pitri. And you recite the mantra for that closure. And you do it with all the three, which represents coming from the three worlds, coming into Pitri Lok now, where now it becomes a Pitri Devta. And then we take it now from the one which Pitri and we throw it inside the Kalsa, where we ask it that we want it now become one with you. Right, so it tells to us, O Garud, when the Pret, or the one who has become one with the mains, which is the Pitris, the mains should be worshipped along with him. So it's Pitris now, and it would be no individual running soul. The next part tells us about what used to happen in those days when the women used to be going into the fire also. But that is not applicable now, so it tells to us how the pindas should be offered. And on the 16th day, the 16 pindas, and after sapinda should be done, other than the festival days, yet still, every month, for 1 year, on the date of the death, it should be offered. So it says on the 13 days, the Pret eat twice. And that is why you just take out one share of food, put it out by the grass, where the wind will blow it, and then the next one goes in the water. Prem Sabarishinam Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. However, for 1 year, a lamp should be kept burning at the door of the house. Food, lamp, water, clothes, or whatever else is given, the same gives satisfaction to the Pret. So, my dear friends, for 1 year, this should be done. The lighting of that light on the entrance. But because nobody would want to keep the fast for that 1 year, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no alcohol, we just say, okay, do it 3 days before the monthly up. And because everybody gets so thin now, we just say, okay, well, still make an effort. And on the day that you offer in the pinda, you make sure you light a diya on the entrance also. So, children of God, it tells to us that between those days, you should not even shampoo the body. Shampoo the body means that you should not bathe with soap. Why you should not bathe with soap? Because you want everything to remain very quiet until we are over. That's why we do chonke the food also, up until after the 10 days. Prem Sabale Sri Krishna Bhagwan Ki Jai. We'll have a bhajan and then we will continue. Sing us a bhajan, Deparvati.
आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका रे भगवान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका रे भगवान।
अधिकारे भगवन अधिकारे करम करम पर किरण विचारे भगवन किरण विचारे करम करम पर किरण विचारे भगवन किरण विचारे इन अखियन को प्रभु करावे इन अखियन को प्रभु
करावे ज्योति से पहचान ज्योति से पहचान आज
मेरे में है
हमारे साथ
ज्ञान के सूरज चमका
रे हम तो हैं संतान तिहारे प्रभु संतान तिहारे
हम तो है संतान तिहारी प्रभु संतान तिहारे तेरी दया के हम अधिकारी
प्रभु है हम अधिकारी
तेरी दया के हम अधिकारी प्रभु है हम अधिकारी
दुनिया
होवे
सुखी हमारी
दुनिया होवे
सुखी हमारी ऐसा दे वरदान ऐसा दे वरदान आज मेरे हम इंसान ज्ञान का सूरज चमका रे भगवान
प्रेम से बोले श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की. So the pindars are very important, and as the sapinda is completed, for life to continue as normal, you must make 55 handfuls of water. And if you check that, it is 10 each day, and then on the day of the cremation site, it makes up the 55 handful of water, the ahutis of the Anjali that you offer. Are there any questions on what we did there before I go on with the next part? So there are different ways of disposal, and this is the way of the Sanatanis. Everything here, and I want to make a very important point here now. The very first line that we did this evening says, the body have been cremated. And there the offering starts now. So definitely, to all my old grandmothers and everybody else who listening to us on dharamkiawaj.com, You cannot do your Pinda Puja while you're living. A lot of people say Pinda start offering from when you cremate and you come back home. Right there. So you cannot do this before. What happens before and what they talk about, and which we as people living in this earth today, in this Kali age, we cannot maintain. If you give up the three portion and you enter the fourth stage, which is known as sannyas, where you give up your money, you give up your house, you give up everything, and you remain just with your loincloth and want to change when it's a little dirty, then you don't have to do all of this Apinda Puja and everything else, because you have totally now make your connection with that Lord. But the Bhagavad Gita tells us is one perchance will be able to reach that position. So that is why it is important. Although someone may be 80 years or 90 years or 95 years or 100 years, we still do the Sapinda Puja because they have not reached that full stage. Sannyas is not a stage of age. It is a state of renunciation. When you do that, you cannot say my wife, my husband, my children, my money, my house, my motor car. The I, the mine, the you, and the yours disappeared. So, Prem, you think you could manage that, girl? You go try? You might give up the husband, you might give up the house, you might give up the children, but one thing else you can't give up. I will stay quiet, I ain't saying nothing. But my dear friends, yes. And you will see that as a Sanatanist, there is a process for that cleanliness, which is 10 nights. So how then only on the day of the cremation you could do all the prayers one time? I still ask them, show me a book where it states that you could do everything one time. Not the Vedic book. Because those who follow the Vedic path, in Trinidad, the Vedic path is I'm talking about the Arya Samaj's people. They does a Havan after the funeral, and then I think 12 days after they do another Havan, and they conclude. Right? But you live all your life as a Sanatanist. And this is the prescribed way. And now you're coming telling Baba, well, see if you could do everything one day for me. Well, I just tell them straight that I haven't learned that method yet. And if you so desire you want it that way, then get a pundit who learned the method. I haven't seen it and I haven't learned it, and I would not come there and fool you. If somebody who knows it, they will come and do it, and you will be satisfied. Thank God for that. Prem Sabarishinam Chandra Bhagavane ki. But my dear friends, again, after 10 days, purity come the 10th night. So all the little vrat and everything else that you have to do, and people say, all right, my father dead now, so I can't continue with the vrat for 1 year. But what happened after the 13 days? What happened after the 13 days? After the 13 days, when everything remained and finished, and Pandit gone, and about Parsad finished in the house, Terence, son, you know where did this go? They're going to look for one of the shop where they say 3 for 150, I think now they see the sign mark, or 3 for 200, I don't know. You're going to eat meat and drink alcohol and live a normal life for the 1 year until you're ready to do the 1 year puja, but you can't pray. It says, my dear friends, in the book here tonight, that for 1 year you're supposed to observe a fast and light a deer at the entrance. I remember I made mention of it. I did the satsang before the funeral day. And this guy was at once or twice a week a drinker. And he came to me and he told to me, he said, Baba, he said, what you say there? Nothing is too much for my mother to do. And he gave it up for that whole year. And then he continued for a little while after. But I think before he died, he went back a little bit into it. But an average living person was willing to do it for 1 year. But all of us who believe that we are devotees, bhaktas, they say, Baba, that hard to do it. I know which one of them children go do it. So we just do it 3 days before. Prem Sabalishinam Chanda Bhagavane Ki Jai. So children of God, these offerings is all centered around now cleansing the mind. Prem Sabalishinam Chanda Bhagavane Ki Jai. So Munesh asked me a hard question last night. No, it's an easy question, but hard for everybody to understand. And he asks why it is that they describe the 16 cities of hell. And how do we go through that and how do we experience that? Before I commence my answer this evening, Munesh, I ask you one simple question. If you have not done anything wrong, would you go to the prison? Would you allow yourself to get to the prison? No. If you have done nothing wrong, there is no need to go behind the bars. It is when you do the wrong, then you go there. Not so? So hell is for those who do the wrong things. The road to heaven is for those who live the life. And I always bring the example of Gunanidhi, a child from the Shiv Puran who have disobeyed his mother and father. His father was a great pundit. And he used to see about the kings and everybody else. And this son was taken up into gambling. And he gambled out everything that they had. And so, my dear friends, on one Shivratri night when he had actually become just living on food what he get outside, he went to thief the food by the Shivlingam. He didn't go there for a good intention. He went to thief the fruits from by the lingam because he was hungry. And when he reached there, everybody was resting during between that pahar. And the wick on the lingam was very low. And it is said in the Shiv Puran that the lingam must be totally glowing with light the night of Shivratri. And he burst a piece of his dhoti and he make a wick. And he brighten up the diya so that the whole lingam will get light. But he did not do it consciously for the lingam to be illumined. He did it so that he can see where the fruits is so that he could thief the fruits. And when he was coming out, he stumbled on the guards and he lost his life. And when he lost his life, the servants of Yamdev came and the servants of Lord Shiva came. And Lord Shiva devotees was ready to take him up. And the servants of Yamraj told him, he said, no, you can't take him. This boy behaves so bad, he disobeyed his parents and everything else. How you carrying him? There is no justification. How you could take it? And my dear friends, the Shiva Dutas, the servants of Lord Shiva, made their claim and was very stunned by it. Because on this night, when all the people who were supposed to ensure that this glow on this lingam was supposed to be did not happen, he made it happen. They are not going to carry him straight at the feet of Lord Shiva, but they made sure, they told, and it was mentioned, that we will take him to the Shiva abode, where we will prepare him to meet with Bhagwan Shiva. And that is where surrender comes in. Where surrender comes in. So now, my dear friends, when he go now with the Shiva Dhutas, if he didn't want to change there now, you think where he going? He going back straight there to go through the hell condition. And that is what so many of us have the opportunity. So many of us have the opportunity now, bare bhag manush kanu power, that is by great good fortune we have this human body. And we don't make the effort to save ourselves. And do believe it's so easy to escape that prison of hell. Once you have hate, anger, jealousy, pride, backbiting, all of those things, you're going to pass through. Guna Nidhi didn't care what happened in life. He was never angry or anything with anybody thereafter. And that is why you get a chance. All of us have the chance right now. That is what it means. We have a chance to transform our lives. How many of us are transforming? Laziness causes us not to even come to the satsang to listen to the words to save ourselves. How are we going to do it? Prem Sabal Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki. So it tells to us here in chapter 8, verse 8 of chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, when the Lord obtains a body and when he leaves it, he takes these and goes with them as the wind takes the scent from the seeds of the flowers. So my dear friends, three things the Lord takes. He takes what is on the mind and in the senses. Prem Sabal Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki. So when it says when the Lord acquires a body, they're talking about the spark, right? So it says when the Lord acquires a body, meaning when the infinite deludes itself that it is conditioned by the mind and intellect, it becomes the jiva. And the jiva takes itself to various bodies from time to time and incarnate in different environments, which is ordered by its own burning desire and aspiration. And that is according to chapter 8, verse 5 and 6. Whatever be your thought at the time of death, so shall you attain. If you think of me, O Arjuna, surely you will reach to me. It says here, and which are most suited for exhausting and fulfilling all its demands. From the moment the jiva enters the body till it leaves it, it keeps these sense facilities and material impressions at all times with itself. In fact, the subtle body includes all these faculties. So here we're talking about a subtle body and we're talking about a gross body. The gross body is what is going to feel. What feels, what will be able to endure the hell is a physical body. And this physical body, which is known as Munish, ends on the cremation site, and we see that with our eyes. everything goes to ashes. So it has nothing to do with Munish. But there are the vasanas. The vasanas are the impressions which you create from the terminal of birth to the terminal of death. It says that the Lord, or that which is known as Jiva, takes the desires of the mind and the craving of the senses and take it to the new body or to its destination. And this will tie in when you hear it says that it takes the body of a thumb. They had to use a tangible something to tell you what is good. But it is the impressions. It is the impressions which transfer from one body to another. It will not be, that to say a physical. And that is what now will go through the pain of the hell. You'll get a body into that area. And I tell everybody, you're old and you're playing with your grandchild, and I love the grandchild, and I love the grandchild so much. And you feel that the grandchild will be the person who died. No. If they have a desire for a child, a grandchild, or somebody, then they don't come back there. You could go anywhere. You just have a desire of a human being. And you could born somewhere in Africa, you could born somewhere according to your desires. So when you look at all the different parts of the world, everything that they talk about, you'd see it existing there. So Adi Shankaracharya tells us in Bhajagovindam, he tells us about the body, he tells us about life. But tomorrow we'll have to go into the gross body. We cannot go into the gross body this evening and the subtle body this evening. This evening, my dear friends, what we're going to establish is that death is very sure for all of us. We can't run away from it.
Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Muramate. Nalani dhalagat jalamati taralam, Taravachi vaitaram, Tisaya chapalam. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Muramate. Govindam, Bhaj Muramate. Vidhi vyadhya bhimalagatasram, lokam sokhatamicasmaratam. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Muramate. Govindam, Bhaj Muramate. Samprapte sanahitite kali, nahi nahi rakshati dukrina karani. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj
So, my dear friends, Adi Shankaracharya is telling to us, Nalini dhalakata jalamati taralam, that this life that we have is like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. And it is very uncertain. The existence is so that the life is very unstable. So, my dear friends, what Adi Shankaracharya is telling to us here, he have used the example of the lotus. And why he used the example of the lotus? You know, we like to complain and say, hey, I live in Kali age. You know where I live in Itahanu temple. All it have is them fellas drinking rum. And all it have is them fellas eating meat. So I go do the same thing. So that is why Adi Shankaracharya used the example of the lotus. Other than the lotus leaf is very smooth and could make the drop of water very unstable. But the root of the lotus is born in the rotten mud. Just like how all of us born in this Kali age, where all the vices, from the time you're born, vices attracted to you. You know how? From the time the children born and they come in this earth, the father does leave the mother in the hospital and go from shop to shop before they reach by Pandit house. Vices start. 6 days. 6 days they come, they do what they have to do, the little purification thing. Alcohol again. 12 days, Barahi effect. From the time the child born, the child is exposed to all this rottenness that the world have to offer. Yet still, some of the children are able to rise and climb the stalk of the lotus and remain on top. And some of them who shining, 10 years go and they drop off and they die. And they say, how God's so unjust, you know. But when the appointed time comes, it will drop off. Unstable as it is. So my dear friends, this lotus leaf here with the drop of water, if it is very stable, then the drop of water will stay longer. But if the breeze blowing it, it could drop off anytime. So the more agitated your mind comes, and your mind comes when you get angry, your mind is agitated. You know when you get angry you could die? Huh? You could die. I'm talking about naturally. That blood pressure could sky high up and you die. Again now, out of the physical body. Getting angry, you could get yourself doing something because you lose memory when you become angry and you'll die. So the leaf becomes unstable, your mind becomes unstable, and the more unstable your mind is the faster you'll die. That is why job, chanting Bhaja Govindam becomes so important. Chanting Bhaja Govindam, chanting the Lord's name is not all, you know. I could sing Bhaja Govindam from here until next year for all you. But if I watching who watching me now, and they're looking at me, oh yes, he's singing good. You lost the whole value of chanting Bhaja Govindam. When you chant Bhaja Govindam, it must come from your heart. So you rise up on the stalk and you come on the leaf here. And the more you chant Bhaja Govindam, is the more less breeze will hit the wind, the leaf. So it is longer the leaf will take there to drop off the water. So the more calm your mind is, that is the reason why when you're offering your pindas, they say you must even bathe with soap. Don't shampoo your body. Because when you shampoo in your body, you know how you're mixing up. No, you'll be as calm as you could. You go in the river to take the bathe on the 10 days. They just make it a fete now. We're going on the river to a river line. The fellas and them on the bank had the punch in there, or the olok, and the rest of them bathing in the water here, and you're agitating the water. The water is what is going to take the message. That's why you have to bathe on the outside, on the river. It says that the Deuta, which rules over Gaia, and Gaia is that place where Lord Vishnu resides, and they're all that God, that is where all the offerings for on behalf of the ancestors will reach. How it reach? It says the Deuta, which rules over Gaia, makes a journey through all the water courses once per day. Once per day. And that's why they just tell you, allow everything to be thrown into a water where it is reaching the ocean. Because if you throw it in a lake, the Deuta course would not pass there. So to make a pond by your house and call everybody there. Prem Sabale Sri Ganesha Bhagwan Ki. So devotees and friends, everything that we see happening here is to bring the mind to a calm point. And the more calm the mind is, it is, the better for us to move forward. Any questions? Munesh? No. No. I answer none after. Can't be selfish. You have to let everybody know what the question is. We're here for everybody to benefit. On which day? Yeah, well, you're offering one pinda on the cremation side. No, you're offering one pinda. That's when they offer none on the cremation day. Why does offer 5? You see, stop there now. So many of them that's been doing it and they have not made any research on it. It is 7 pindas you have to offer on the day of the cremation. One is offering in the room where the person used to sleep, where you light the diya. And you say, Lord, it is, I can't remember, tomorrow I'll tell you the special names for them in the different places. But you thank the Deuta which rules in the room with the pinda. The pinda is a sweet rice ball, That's your parsad. I just always tell people, if you didn't know that that is offer, when somebody die, you eat it and you enjoy it. Especially a person like me who like sweetness, who like sugar cake and all of that. Because that make with honey. So you offer that sweet rice ball there in the room. Then you offer one by the entrance, the back entrance, thanking the Lord for the house. Then you offer one by the gate, right? That is for the property, thanking the Deuta which rules the property. Then you offer 2 in the hands, where you say, Lord, he came empty hands, and you're going back with the pinda in your hands. Right? I see now they just take one pinda, they put it here, and they take the same pinda, and they cross it over here in the left hand. So then you leave the right hand without any, or you leave the left hand without any. And then one is offered midway when you're making the manzil. And that one is known as the Pret Pinda. That is for nothing to go back. Not only the deceased person, but on the cremation side there is a lot of roving Pret looking for a body. That is for none to go back with anybody home. You offer that one day. And then the one that you offer by the kush grass is the first Pinda now for the new body to be formed. That is the one, the first one. And then the 9 days, 9 mornings after, you offer it, which you come and do the dashgrad. So I don't know where the double pinda come from, but this is what we went through here, and this is what it says. You say nothing about no double pinda. And the seven pinders is seven fingers, not five pinders. I got five the other day, and but the guy didn't talk to me before, so he accustomed making five, and I just continue with the five. But I made my little offerings when I had to reach where I reach. So it is seven pinders, eh? When it's punchak, it's 12 pinders. But you don't go and make that for them, eh? Ask them first. But I'm telling you, when it's punchak, it's 12 pinders. Five for the punchak, and seven for regular cremation. Yeah. Now they just make it dolly with the flower and so on. But the dolly, the replica is made with kush grass, you know. They make the kush grass and you tie the kush grass and you cut it short. That's why now they just make the dolly, but they just put it on the kush grass. Right? Yeah. So that it doesn't matter what you make it with. Once you make the five replica, that is what is recommended. We'll talk about panchak tomorrow too. Panchak is a very important thing. Panchak in nowadays may not just affect the immediate family. When a person died in panchak, in those days, was the immediate family used to get the first vibration which hits. Now sometimes could be a stranger. Because panchak is a vibration coming from the star and striking with the dead, and when it bounces off of the dead body, it could hit anybody who is in sight. It is a vibration. Yeah. Yeah, Munish, your question and then I will close. Ask the question.
What exactly I'm trying to understand? I'm trying to understand holistically karma, this jiva atma, process of life, death. Because you also said that when you die, the soul has a journey to go on.
I never said the soul. Mind you, wait, stop there. I never said the soul. Listen properly. Go ahead again.
The atma,
No, not Atma. Vasanas, the impressions.
because the journey can last 3 days, I could pass through east or south, or it could take a whole year.
Yeah?
Right. So I don't know how much karma I had before. I don't know how much things I have paid for.
Why are you worrying about that?
Right? So whatever I'm going through now is that. So I'm telling the future now, and I want to understand exactly what holistically what this has to go through. So I'm trying to understand the holistic thing of Hinduism, Sanatana.
Uh-huh.
That is why I'm trying to understand. That is why I asked you the question of how does karma affect me? How does death affect me? What do I have to do?
Okay.
Yes. Although I'll be on the right path trying to do it, but
Okay, stop. You're bringing a big question there. No, because I'm telling you what you're doing. No, listen to me. What you have done with that question is you have put a doubt in yourself of being a Sanatanist and whether being a Sanatanist is correct. But let me tell you. No, you put a whole doubt on Sanatanism, on Hinduism, because you want to know what Hinduism have. It's not Hinduism. It's humanism. This thing don't only affect Hindus. Everybody have to go through the path. So you bring karma, you bring hell, and you never talk about heaven. Karma, once you understand karma, all this here becomes very easy to understand. Karma tells to you every action you perform, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That is what creates the impression. That is what is called the vasanas. So impressions are being created in three different ways. One, through your mind. The mind deals with feelings, attachment, and sentiments. Two, through ignorance. You never try to learn and understand and distinguish between the body and God. And third, through the ego, claiming, I am Munesh Ramuta. That is my house. Beverly is my wife. Rajiv is my son. And not their gifts to you. So, the ignorance, not knowing that these are gifts to you and not belonging to you, that is what brings the entanglement. That is what entraps the little spark, and it becomes Jiva Atma. So Jiva Atma doesn't have to go nowhere. You don't have to go nowhere. Jiva Atma, Param Atma, is all pervading. It is absolute. Jiva Atma becomes Jiva Atma. Other than that, it is still Atma. It becomes Jiva Atma when we put these three walls. So all your devotion should be to break these three walls. The walls of not acting on sentiments, attachment, and feelings. Of ignorance, not understanding what is real and what is unreal, that this physical body is unreal. And then third, the ego, I, mine, you, and yours. And that's all, the whole thing. That is what the Garud Puran is set into. It is set into a heaven and a hell to show to you that if you don't make an effort to break these walls, you're going down here to hell. Meaning that you will have to take this cycle back again and again to come back until you're free and break those walls so that Atma just comes and merge back with Param Atma.
So let's assume I did not reach that.
Let me assume, come straight.
If I don't reach this perfection state, this lifestyle, you're telling me we have to continue, right?
Of course.
Good. But who determines or what determines where I'm going to be?
Your karma. It says your destination is being destined at your last breath. And chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita tells us that if the yogi, one who have attained the highest, and just before that he drop, he fall. Arjuna says, so what will happen to he? Because he won't get heaven. He would not get heaven. So what happens to him? And the Lord says that the drop that he drops, he have to come back and start from where he left and continue up. Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, again, I think is between 70 and 74, somewhere around there. It tells to us, everything that we own materially, house, wife, children, motor car, everything that we own materially remains here. The only thing that you do spiritually goes with you. Everything remains here. And that's when my cousin tell me, he say, well, oh God, Baba, this thing real unfair. He said, I worked so hard and I had to leave everything here and go. But that is life. You could detach yourself from that. So this is what I'm saying. The Garud Puran is not authority. You have to use the authority of the Vedas, the authority of the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita is one of the texts which is authority. But within all these Puranas, the authority is embedded within the lines. So when the people was not accepting the teachings as it was raw from the Puranas and from the Vedas and the Upanishads, which came out of the Vedas, then they created the Puranas in such a soft manner, but with the same in-depth knowledge, but they use kisa, you use kathas, stories, to tell it, Now the wise, you see, those great saints of those days were so wise that they were telling the story. And when they get everybody with the story, they send home the point straight inside. But today, what happened? We only hitting the story and no philosophy hitting within that. But all you're not exposed to that. All you exposed with the story to get all the soften up, and then all you get the philosophy. As far as much as I could do it. And I have been doing that for the longest while. That way, could tell you that. So, my dear friends, the Garud Puran and all this thing that they're frightening you and telling you about the hell and all of that, that is very good. It is to bring you back on track. For the objective of it is three things. To break the walls that has conditioned this energy and call it jiva, is to break the wall of the mind. So everything is centered back to the mind and your karma. So don't let all of this thing confuse you. That is why I've taken time to do it little bit by little bit and asking the question. I didn't know that you still so much in the world.
I want to understand. I want to understand clearly my part. That is what
What is your part, son?
that realization. That realization.
Your part, let me tell you, and all of us, our part is to calm our mind. To calm our mind, to remove hate, anger, jealousy, pride. Because everything in the Puranas you see coming down here is hinging back to all of that. The pindas and the pindas offering and everything else is to help the mind again. You sit down to do the puja and you offer the flowers and the leaves and all of that. That is to help your mind again. If you offer it there mechanically, nothing happens. So it is to straighten your mind. So people use these lines to help fill their pockets. Yeah, no, not true, quite true. And that's why I just tell them, Jayo, yeah, I just tell them, I say, if you don't do and you don't build the karma to this point, you cannot reap it. You could, if you have $100, you could only get what $100 worth. Yeah, but we want to live and do 5 good things and get 1,000,000 happiness and coming back to us. We mustn't get no trouble. Well, then live the life for that. So the Garud Puran is a wonderful book, but you have to follow the lines to strengthen back your mind. All these Pinda offerings and everything else here, what you think they talk about? Every one of the recommendation there is to calm your mind before you sit down to do the Pinda Puja. Yeah, Jayo. Yeah, exactly.
But who tells you you have $100 only? You talking about
Wait, stop,
karma here now?
stop. Beverly, when Munesh go home this evening, give him some lick somewhere, please. For the last 9 years, I'm telling all you over and over in every discourse that everything that's happening to you is because of you. You can remember that?
We understand that. But yes,
What else you want to understand, son?
we understand. All right. You said unless we don't get this break this tree wall,
Right.
right? But who tells you that hey, but you only break 2 walls and you have to come back? Who tells you that?
You want me to tell you who tell you that? The universe of nature. Climb up. Wait. Climb up on the roof and jump out. And who go tell you you won't fall and break your foot? Who go tell you that?
Remember, I still living in it physically.
No.
You feel you're telling me that our judgment day judgment day and resurrection.
Listen to me. You looking for somebody. It has nobody. It's the laws of nature that is there. And when you violate the laws of nature, it punishes you. There's no physical body to tell you that. You read about Chit and Gupt and all of them there. And that's what you want to know.
Yeah, that's why I want to, because they keep telling me that they have great possibility actually seeing everything you do and hearing everything you do.
Tell me. Right, right. Let me stop there now. You hide inside your room, right? And do some wrong things. And tell me you won't feel the punishment. Stay inside your room, stay inside the dark, and take a hammer and pong your toe. You won't feel pain? Who do that? Who is the judge to tell you the pain there? Your own mind. So it's you. The chitra and the goop is you self.
Only when that light of wisdom inside you grow and open, only then you can know that value. Beyond that, you are still in that.
So it has nobody.
Nobody to tell you. You have to listen.
The Lord put everything in place so that nobody won't get no favor. If he had somebody, a Trinidadian already would have found a way to bribe him. And that is why the Lord didn't put anybody. He put natural laws there. You follow the law, you get rewarded. You violate the law, you get punished. And that is what the Garud Puran is about. That is what the Bhagavad Gita is about. That is what the Vedas is about. To teach you how to create your mind in such a way. It's the mind you have to transcend. You know. When you transcend the mind, automatically, Atma go back with the Paramatma. You have nowhere to go because that energy is right through flowing here. When you go on the 10 days, all the men who went there for 10 days and go by the river and they see that the Mahapat, the man used to take a stone long time, he used to get it and pelt the Khalsa to burst. To burst the Khalsa, they start pelting the man and say, Mahapat, turn now, you know. But when he cracked the Khalsa there, it's showing that the space within the Khalsa come back out there, you have nowhere to join. If you go and look where the Khalsa break there, and look for a stitch in the space to see the joining, you will see no stitch. Because the absolute is right there, and when the Khalsa break, it just merging back. It's the same thing. The God is walking every step and every breath that you take, the Lord is there. And when you break these vasanas from the mind, it just come back and merging. It's one and the same. But this is what entrap it, your mind. And that is what you have to work now to unlock those locks that you lock. Those things in your mind. So it has nobody to do that. It's you have to do it. It's right within you. And if you do it, you will come back again and again and again and again to get it done. Yeah. The manager say, I'm overdoing it too. Come on, put all your hands together, close the physical eyes. Om Asatoma Satgamayam Tamasoma Jyotirgamayam Mrityorama Amritam Gamayam Om Tvameva Matam Chapita Tvamevam Tvameva Bandhum Chasika Tvamevam Tvameva Vidyam Dravinam Tvamevam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Devam Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Prem se bole Sri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai, Pitri Devata ki, Aryama Devata ki. Sitaram to all. I don't know how much time I went over 9 o'clock, but this 3 days is not about 9 o'clock. So timekeeper, this 3 days is people understanding what the Pitri Paksh is all about. That is why I organized it 3 days. To come so that people will be able to understand what you are being puzzled about. because everything is about creating and making the mind to be better. Sitaram, receive your parasad and your refreshment now, and come back tomorrow. The discussion will be even more. But come tomorrow to stay because they're going to have more questions. All they come with all the questions. Don't feel frightened to ask the question. And don't, because I want all you to know, don't ask me the question when I come down from here, because then you will be selfish. You only want the answer for yourself. Everybody must understand because this is satsara. Well, okay, get yourself in a group and come then.